Events of 1977. Gerald Ford is out, Jimmy Carter is in. The Alaska Pipeline opens. New York City suffers a 25-hour blackout. Anwar Sadat visits Israel. Gary Gilmore is executed by firing squad in Utah. Pele plays his final professional game. At the movies, we see the first Star Wars film. Roger Moore stars in The Spy Who Loved Me. Saturday Night Fever hits theaters, and Roots airs on ABC. We hear debut albums from The Clash, The Talking Heads, and the Sex Pistols. And the world loses Elvis, Bing Crosby, Groucho Marx, and Charlie Chaplin. And AFN broadcasts in color for the very first time.
These are only a handful of the big news events of 1977. The American Forces Network carried many of them. Well, and most of the equipment they used to get these events on the air, it's over here, in storage, long since replaced by newer and more efficient technology. One resource, however, has been kept on inventory, finding niches in radio and television news, and ultimately fulfilling a role in senior management.
During her long and esteemed broadcast career, she has met presidents, military leaders, and has covered events that have had a lasting effect on our world.
Here I am, there's Ronald Reagan.
Well, to be honest, she really has met presidents, military leaders, and definitely has been there for some of the most important events of our time. She started as a civilian reporter in the mid-1970s at WTAP-TV in Parkersburg, West Virginia. There she learned the trade and made the transition to the American Forces Network. During her 30 years here, Ann has held a variety of positions, to include news director. The event she considers the highlight of her military career happened on her watch, and she'll never forget it.
It was November 11th, 1989, and that is when the Berlin Wall fell down. And to put it into context, no one ever thought that would happen. This wall was up there. The entire reason that all the U.S. forces and AFN was in Europe was to keep the Russians at bay, Soviet forces, and they said, well, it could happen someday, but nobody ever believed it would, and it came down so fast.
It sort of sent a surge of energy through the building that really you'd never really seen before. I mean, that was just so unexpected and so really, really strange that we all sort of, in a way, bonded together to sort of bring all that information out and try to get as much information as we could. And it was really an exciting time, and I agree. I think that was probably that's got to be probably the most exciting time to have been at AFN.
The fall of the wall and AFN's reporting helped cement Ann Mulligan's place in AFN's hierarchy. That and fashion sense that some would consider ahead of its time.
This is AFN's TV Blazers. Don't like the new clumsy fitting blazer on AFN TV's newswoman Ann Mulligan? For viewers who don't care for Ann's grocery store manager attire, you could clip these little things out, little other attire, and paste it over the television set.
I worked with Ann, I worked for Ann, I worked around Ann for many, many, many years. And I've got to tell you that it was nice. And I'll tell you why. Because many times when you're working in the newsroom or you're working on television or whatever it is, things happen, things go wrong, and a lot of times a lot of managers will just freak out. They just get excited and the whole place just goes, like a vortex. Everything just continues to go around. Ann never freaked out.
She was like a steady force, almost a rock that people would gravitate to for some stability, and you could always count on her giving you a successful mission accomplishment. Whatever that mission was, a tremendously calming person of impeccable judgment.
I think it was just being in the right place at the right time, but I was the first woman to do a lot of things at AFN, and it's partly because I was able to have a long career in one place and get in what I did. But when I came to AFN, there weren't very many women. There were no women in management.
When she was growing up and coming through the ranks, so to speak, female leadership in the military was still, when I say evolving, it was still women it was harder for women to be taken serious.
I was the first woman to head studio operations, and they said, no, we can't have a woman do that. This is all the 25 Victors, this is behind the camera people. They're always been managed by men, they're all men. I said, no, I'd like to do that. And they said, okay, because no men would take the job. And first day I went in there, and COIC said, well, we didn't want you, but they're here, so we'll make the best of it.
Considering the time here and all the things you've done in your own accomplishments, what do you want your legacy at AFN to be?
I don't think I deserve a legacy. I think there are a couple people that really do deserve a legacy when you think about that, and that's people like Bob Harlan, who was a pioneer in broadcasting, Herb Glover, who had 42 years here and pioneered a lot of things that we do today, who was just a super person.
Congratulations, Ann. Wow, 30 years, 3 whole decades. I guess that time really flies when you're having fun. In my humble opinion, I think what really defines Ann Mulligan's success are 2 words. They're talent and professionalism. In the early 80s, when I first joined AFN, Ann was demonstrating that talent on a daily basis as the anchor of our newscast. She delivered every line flawlessly. She moved up to being the senior producer of our Daily Miracle, our newscast. And this was during pre and post sadness that posed a very special challenge. She helped those guys in the set, and she really gave us a professional look. Our newscast was second to none. I'm confident that talent and professionalism that Ann continues to demonstrate is really responsible for her path to success at AFN. So, congratulations, Ann. Enjoy your retirement. You've earned it. Cue the fish. I'm also here to tell you that there really is life after AFN, and life is good.
All right, Phil, that's a wrap. Go ahead and prep her for TASA. Thanks.